You good?
Yeah, go on then. Suppose so. Let's do some work.
Hello and welcome to another Carfection Commentaries, where we take a classic film from our back catalogue, dust it off and present it as something new with some actual insights and information that you might not have heard before.
Well, as close to insights as we can actually give anyone.
Well, we'll give it a good crack, and we're doing this to celebrate the fact we've been doing it for 5 years.
Yay!
Yay!
And now we're both on the Scotch.
Yes, it's degraded into this situation, I'm afraid. Today we're looking at a film shot in the mountains of Wales, a place where we actually shoot quite a lot of films.
Yep.
This one was fairly significant. It was the subject of a making of film that was also published, that we'll also put a link to in the description. But it was probably one of the most challenging situations you've ever filmed in.
Weather-wise, it was the single worst shoot I've ever done. I would explain more as the film goes on, but I genuinely hated Wales for this one. I don't have a great track record of booking in convertibles at sensible times of year. So normally we'll have a convertible in, say, January or February, and then not until the following October or November. And just in the summer, hard tops all the way. And this is one of the first times we did that, and it bit me, frost bit me in the arse, really. It's horrible.
Well, if you want to watch this film without our added information, there'll be a link in the description to watch it as normal, unadulterated as it was originally aired. But if you do fancy finding out a little bit extra about this, stay tuned and let's hit play. So the Welsh Mountains in the Brecon Beacons is one of our, alongside with Castle Coombs, one of our most frequented locations. Doesn't always look like this.
No.
Though.
So it was a 2-day shoot. On the first day we appeared and it looked like that. Thankfully the 6-litre V12 or 5.9-litre V12 if you're a pedant, Aston Martin was on winter tyres, so it could take the horrible weather, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was stunning, and because I'm usually a pain in the arse and I make our crew stand outside and be cold, I said I will have the roof down the whole way. On the first day that was fine because we just did the statics. On the second day, which this particular sequence is from, the weather decided to change its mind from lovely placid delightfulness to the weather on shuffle. So we could do the start of a 1.5 mile run and the weather would be fine, so I'd take the roof down. Then as we'd set off, it would start raining. Then after it finished raining, there would be wind, then hail, then snow, and then by the time we stopped at the other end, all of that would finish. So I would dry off the car with my scarf, or the interior of the car, and then we'd turn round again and the whole thing would go back on shuffle. It was absolute agony. It was minus whatever. The car was constantly binging at me to tell me it was icy weather. It was slippery, it was slidey, and to make things even better, the gearbox on that particular car was terrible. It had, I think that car had lived a life, because it kept trying to eat its own clutch, which for an automatic is not good.
I mean, you look cold there. You do not look happy.
Cold. I very rarely have my hands in my pockets doing a piece of camera because I think it's rude, but I did on that day because it was bitterly cold.
And if you look at it really carefully and you look in the background of other shots, you'll see exactly what you're saying. The weather being on shuffle. Every shot there is a slightly different type of environmental background, from no snow to it being absolutely covered in the white stuff. Is ridiculous.
So we did all the statics on the snowy day, and we had our old Land Rover Defender as a crew car.
My word, that car was...
I miss that thing.
I do, but it wasn't great for
it was terrible,
keeping in the heat.
But it's one of the worst, best cars you'll ever drive.
Yeah.
It was awful. But there we go, roof up, because we had to get the pieces to camera, and normally in a convertible we'll have the roof down, the windows up, but on this occasion it was too cold, it was too windy. We didn't know whether we were going to get hailed on. Definite possibility. See, this was shot on day 2, which is why the hills are green. Again, this is day 2 as well. We didn't know whether we were going to get snow or ice or wind or rain or bright sunshine. Or literally any weather condition, and this was in the rain because the lens is covered in water. It was so challenging, and the thing is, the car was so good and we could have had so much more fun with it had the weather not been absolute arse. But we have a kind of way of working No matter what the conditions are, we will come back with a film.
That's the thing. There's no. It's not like you can turn up and go, oh, the weather's terrible, we'll come back a different day. It has to get done. That's
there you go. There's the rain. Like, look at that. There's no option for us to do that. There's a bit of a joke I have running with a few guys on Twitter that I can't take a Porsche 911 out without being rained on. No snow there, because it's just pissing wet and horrible. But that is genuinely the case. Like, sometimes you just got to play the hand you're dealt, and the hand we were dealt was not pleasant. But we managed to get, I think, a really good film out of it. We had some fun with that car. And there's something very, very special about a V12 Aston Martin with no roof.
Yeah, I mean, it's V12 Aston Martin. It's like one of the last generation of V12 unadulterated V12 cars that you can actually still buy. Well,
shame about the gearbox on that.
You can't have everything, and you know.
Well, you should be able to have everything if they put a decent double clutch gearbox.
Look how much there is on that camera.
And look,
you can tell how hard it was.
Verdant green. And spray and a little bit of snow in the background.
If this was a really high budget show, you just wouldn't accept that because it doesn't cut together well. But the fact is that we go here from there being absolutely no snow
to there being all of the
snow right in the
next shot. And that's day 2. But it wasn't settling because about 30 seconds later it turned to hail and then sleet. It was ridiculous because it's just. Whenever someone says, "Oh, you're paid by manufacturers to do X, Y, Z," I wish that was the case, because we could have said we're not going to do this until the weather works, and I would be dressed a lot better all of the time, but sadly not. And I'd probably own one of those, but the coupe, because I wouldn't have to go through weather. And you can see, actually, if you look really carefully on the steering wheel, you can see where the rain left its mark, where I hadn't dried it off properly. So I do feel very sorry for Aston Martin's cleaning crew. I'm sorry I destroyed your leather.
We do have a good couple of films. I shot the
Porsche
Boxster this year in the driving rain in Portugal, of all places, where it should have been dry.
The McLaren MP4 12C, our first McLaren, so excited about it. Gale force winds, the scissor door nearly sliced my leg off, which was one of the scariest things that ever happened, because I was just getting into the car, my right leg was just about to come in and the door came slamming down, just as I got my foot in. It was horrifying, frankly.
Well, that's less than ideal. And there you go, cut from no snow to snow. That actually is a shot from a film that almost killed the video producer for a completely different reason. Because
he decided to try and do something clever and ended up dry heaving and nearly suffocating by the side of the road within 5 minutes of beginning the shoot, because he's an idiot.
Using smoke grenades, I must say. It wasn't because
smoke grenades. He put a smoke grenade in front of the exhaust and asked me to rev the exhaust so he could see the exhaust powering through the smoke grenade, and all that happened was he inhaled the exhaust fumes and smoke grenade and ended up feeling decidedly dicky for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that film in the description as well, because it's, again, that's another great Aston Martin film shot out in Wales.
That's North Wales, that one.
Yeah, we have some great... I mean, we've spent a lot of time in Wales filming, and we have some of our best films, right, going back to the first supercar shoot we did.
Ferrari 458.
Ferrari 458, which was shot using like a Ford Ranger and a...
Ford Ranger, an unsecured jib, Panasonic AF101, a Voigtlander lens, and a lot of luck, frankly.
Back in the day, but that was our first ever Ferrari, first ever supercar, and by the time we got round to filming this film out in Wales, we'd quite a few under our belt. But these were challenging circumstances,
and most challenging.
There is an exceptional behind-the-scenes film made by one of our video producers, Matt, who joined in the crew, and it just happened to be this shoot that he joined them for, and it was the most challenging.
So if you do watch that behind-the-scenes film, at the beginning of it, there's lots of details of London at night, so the Eye and Buckingham Palace and things like that. That was actually shot on the way home from this shoot when we were all exhausted and drowned. And I said, look, if you're going to do some like driving through London stuff, do you want to see some of the sights? We'll take the roof down, we'll have a look round. So I took him on a little tour of the landmarks of London on the way back to the office.
After all of this?
After all of that.
That's crazy.
Because he hadn't got any, and he hadn't really seen London, because he doesn't live here. So there are few better ways to see London than in an open-top sports car, frankly.
See, just the shot of you putting down the roof reminds me of us doing the 458 Spider.
Let's not talk about that. Let's not... until we do a behind-the-scenes on that, let's not talk about that shoot.
That is a very...
But there is a reason we are mentioned by name as a warning when Ferrari loans out convertible cars now. So all I'm going to say Just leave that hanging there.
We'll put a link to the 458 Spider film in the description, because that's also worth watching. And if you can guess what happened to us on that shoot, then you get 10 Carfection points.
And then 1 million internets on top of that.
Yeah. Those two shots, it cuts from there being no snow to being the huge amount of snow.
Snow and the coldest
No
hands.
snow.
No snow. And then some wet, lots of wet. A little bit of snow because that was Beast of Camera Day, and slightly ruffled, no hair.
It just, if you watch it, I wish the roof went
lots of snow. Quickly. Basically, the reason we're showing you this is to say that sometimes it's hard to do supercars and stuff. Is that the reason? It's
not always as glamorous as it looks.
It really isn't.
But it's always worth it, and we do it purely because we enjoy doing it, and it's our job, and you like watching it.
It's one of the things people ask me a lot about. How did you get into this? Why did you do it? It's because if I didn't want to put myself through this terribleness, and genuinely that is a low light shoot. The car was brilliant, but as far as shoots go, it's one of the things I hate most about what we've done, because we couldn't just wait. We had the car for 5 days, and those were the 2 days we had for it, and then we had other things to do. The reason we do it is because we love it, and I wouldn't do anything else, really.
And if you love us doing it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It's by you doing stuff like that allows us to keep doing what we do, making these films, and not having to charge you a penny to watch them. And obviously there'll be a link in the description if you want to watch this film unadulterated as it originally went out, without all of this extra information. And I do urge you to watch that, because it is a fantastic film under very challenging circumstances, and see how many times you can see it cut between there being snow and no snow. It's a fun drinking game to play. In fact,
we've been playing it the whole time.
Yeah, and we've been doing really well. Anyway,
we've been doing this well.
Quite.
And this well.
That's enough of that. Anyway, no. If there's a film from our back catalogue which we haven't done commentary on, which you would definitely like to see us do, let us know in the comments below, and we'll definitely consider it. But until then, until the next time, goodbye.
Bye.